We're live.
Great stuff, man. I was actually
Um,
excited about this one. Very excited.
yeah, I don't drink and I feel hungover. I woke up looking hungover. So it was really no guess as to what we needed to talk about this week. Obviously, us being massive rugby fans, massive Springbok supporters, and what transpired yesterday afternoon for me, yesterday evening on the Paris, the killing fields of Paris. Um, where to begin, man? Where to begin?
Yeah, man. I think let's start by just like getting an overall feel of what's your thoughts about the World Cup so far, man.
So it's kind of been one of those weird ones, man, because it's like we didn't make it through the pool once again undefeated, which is we didn't do 4 years ago either. We lost to a team that everybody claimed was going to win it. The All Blacks 4 years ago, Ireland this year, and what do you know? Last time the team didn't make it to the final. This time we didn't lose to them, but we're facing the All Blacks in the final. It's been I think the biggest complaint, and I think a lot of people will agree, is that they pick these pools way too early.
Yeah.
The talent
So
was all in A
basically,
and yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just gonna say, basically, the Pool A and Pool B quarterfinals was the semifinals.
Pretty much. Pretty much. Yeah. Um. Not to take
Look, for
anything
me,
away, you know.
my biggest concern was, during this World Cup so far, anyways, consistency of of the refereeing, right? So we've seen many games where a call goes one way, and then in the next game it completely goes another way, or even in the same game, it goes this way, and then for the other team it goes another way. And I was like, I mean, let's just think, okay, not South Africa for a second, right?
Yeah.
Just so that people cannot say, "Oh, we're being biased because we're always complaining about the refs." Let's take somebody like that Fiji game against Japan in the warm-up games to the actual World Cup, right?
Yeah.
Same same ref teams, everything's the same. However, there was in that specific game, Lapis Labuskaghni got a red card, all right, for a tackle, an illegal tackle, but on that illegal tackle, there was mitigation because the guy actually stepped into him, right, to change
Yeah.
lanes. All right.
Yeah.
Then Fiji does exactly the same thing, and this time there's no mitigation, yellow card.
Yeah. It's the consistency in the refereeing has been Puskak, I guess would be the best Afrikaans. I mean, you wanted to step away from the whole Springbok situation. I'm going to step back into it. Ben O'Keefe,
Yeah.
the game against Ireland, the ball was clearly out. He took a step to the wrong side of the ruck and didn't see the ball in Kobus Reinek's hands.
Yeah.
And then yesterday we get the same Ben O'Keefe who, like, as soon as the game was over, everybody complained about the officiating, especially the English because they lost. But I agree, he did a pretty piss poor job yesterday of officiating.
100%. I think that was the biggest problem for me because now when you watch the game, all right, the rules are clear. Okay, there's no black and white on rules. Okay, the rules are pretty fucking clear. Okay, and for instance, there's a guy behind the ruck, okay, who's obviously not part of the ruck, got both his hands on the floor.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Both his hands are on the floor. He's not part of the ruck. Okay. They call us out for being offside. That guy is not the last. It's not the last foot. His foot is not the last one behind it. You know what I mean? Like there was no offline for that guy because he wasn't part of the actual ruck. And then you question the ref, but the ref is so pissed off because of no arms fucking Farrell already yapping his ear off the whole fucking game, okay, that he doesn't even listen to reason.
I kind of go back to, I call him fuck boy Farrell. I had never actually even listened to that guy talk before. I listened to the post game with him and Steve Borthwick.
Yeah.
And you know, I had made a TikTok earlier today where I claimed, good riddance, man. Like, I'm absolutely sick and tired of that guy. Like, I'm sick and tired of him running his mouth about everything. And like, look, I had an English colleague with me. There were Englishmen in the bar yesterday, and I tip my hat to them. They played, they outplayed us. They should have won that game. But what it comes down to is those little things, and that's the difference between winners and losers. We've won a World Cup. We know what it takes to make that next step. And it was just, yeah, I mean, we finally felt like we got some decent officiating in the last 10 minutes because it became painfully obvious that, like, when we brought on the bomb squad, our scrums were just fucking. I mean, Oxen Shea was just barreling through, and if Andre didn't get man of the match, that's who I think should have gotten man of the match, because Oxen Shea came in, and there was no way O'Keefe could hide behind it anymore. It was like, okay, I can't hide. These guys are the English scrum was fucking up left and right, so he could no longer hide it for him by saying, okay, the ball isn't right or the setting's not right. It was obvious. And just some other incidents earlier in the game. Kurt Leorenza comes down with the ball and is low, and a guy, hits him straight, head contact. Now, I get it, it's incidental, but there was not even a penalty called for it.
Yeah. How about the penalty that was given against us when Colby went up and he got taken out in the air?
Yeah, like in the past, that's a penalty. A lot of times that's a card. Colby didn't land on his head. Thankfully, he didn't land on his head. You know, I'm pretty sure Colby and Arenzo were busted the fuck up by the end of the game last night because they got their shit wrong multiple times. Now, it's been an issue, and we've had it. I mean, obviously, Nick Berry, the incidents with the British and Irish Lions tour where we saw the absolute worst fucking officiating I think I've seen in my life.
Yeah. And
there's been some good games in this World Cup where I felt like the officiating was fair, but then there's been games like the Fiji-Wales game where the officials basically handed it to Wales.
Yeah.
You know, there's been incidences throughout the whole tournament. Samoa should have beaten England. Fuck boy Farrell. I want to call him Will Farrell because he's a fucking clown. He let the kick clock run out. And of course they let him do it because it's England and they, you know, they're better than everyone, you know. And it's like, and I think a lot of that also just kind of comes back to, you know, yes, the game was invented in England. I tip my hat to him for that. But the fact of the matter is it's being perfected south of the equator.
Yeah, I agree, man. Look, I mean, I've got a number of controversial statements I'm about to make tonight. I hope you're ready, bro.
I am, man. Let's do it.
So the first things first, I'm saying put Kitsoff back on the bench, man.
No controversy in that.
I think Kitsoff, I don't know what's going on with him at the moment, but like the last couple of games, like he just does nothing. Like before that, he was doing like the first 2 or 3 World Cup games. Yeah, he was playing great. Okay. Warm up to the World Cup, great. Yeah, perfect. But the last 3 or so games, like he gives away penalties left, right, center. He doesn't really do much. Like the scrum doesn't even move when he's on the field. You got somebody like Oxen Chair on the field, all of a sudden things start happening, man. I think literally that Trevor Nyakane and Oxenchair together on that field at the same time starting. Now that I think is a starting front row. Kitsoff of old, sure, but not current Kitsoff.
I kind of also, here's a controversial statement on my part as well. I kind of wonder if the glamour of Kitsoff has been because of who he's been sitting next to. Having Malcolm Marks makes everybody look good.
Yeah.
That man
Look, I mean,
we know
the front row though, right?
Yeah.
The front row sets up the angle in terms of what you're going to be scrummaging. But what's behind you is where the power comes from, right?
Yeah.
So that's one thing. But it seems like Kitsoff has been struggling to get his lines right. Or I don't know what it is. I don't know if maybe England's not taking the hit, that maybe he's pushing too far forward for early engaging and stuff. I don't know what it is, right? But for sure, you see the difference when somebody like Oxenchair pops onto the field. It makes massive difference. Like in the last week's game, I was like, when is Frans Malherbe going off? Because that guy looks like he's unfit as fuck. Okay?
Yeah.
That guy did like what, 60, 70 minutes? He was like almost the whole game on the fucking field. And he is the least fit looking motherfucker on the field. Then you must know. So I felt last night like literally Kitsoff, really, bro. Not a great game. Willie Leroux, he can stay on the bench, man. Like for real, he can stay on the bench. I don't even need to see him in the game at the moment, right? He doesn't really bring much value to me in that team when he does come onto the field. Where he used to be. He used to be that guy.
I ask you this though: do you trust Gaza, Damian Filemza, for 80 minutes? Do you trust him that well?
I think there's replacements in that position that could take up another 10 or 15 minutes. If we change our bench around, okay, and let's say you put somebody like, let's say you put Moody on 14, right, and you put Arendse on the bench. Okay, Arendse can play fullback. Okay, he's played fullback. Right, so, and vice versa, Moody can play fullback, and so can Colby. So if needs be, you can have one of those guys take up those reins, and I think they would add probably a little bit more value than what Willie Leroux is doing at the moment, to be honest.
So I can go back. There were times where I was absolutely done with Willie. He had some real butterfinger issues a while back. He was just horrible under the ball. He wasn't handling it very well. And it seemed like he took a step back. He kind of went back to basics and he got good again. But I do agree. Is he what he was 4 years ago? Not even fucking close.
Man, you don't even have to go 4 years ago.
Yeah.
If you think about it this way, right? Going into that previous World Cup, he was trash.
Yeah.
He was being taken out by everybody and their mother, okay, across this country. Okay, everybody talking nonsense about him. And he came into that World Cup and he showed who he is and why he needs to be there, right? From there on, okay, they actually molded him into a playmaker of note, right? The last 2 years of his playing was probably his best prime way of playing rugby that he's ever played. Even better than the World Cup. But now at this very moment, like the last 2-3 games, there's something going on with him, and I've mentioned it in a number of my videos. There's something going on with him. I don't know if he's got doubt in himself or if he's body's just getting old, or I don't know what it is, right? But there's something going on, and I just don't think you can work on your name alone, Put him on the field because he's Willie Leroux, right? He needs to prove the goods. He needs to show the goods. And unfortunately, at the moment, he's not doing much of that.
I think the other issue I have with Willie is his mouth, man. He runs it entirely too much, especially around officials. Like,
Yeah.
The amount of times that you see him going up to mince words with an opposing player, neither of them are captains, right
Yeah.
in front of the referee. Like, Billy, you're not making any friends doing this.
Yeah.
Like,
And even Kobus Reinach as well, though.
he
He's
talks
also a
too
bit
damn
of
much. Yeah.
he's also a bit aggressive, right? You watch him on the field, like whenever look, you want a fox terrier or a bull terrier, on the ball right next to the scrum, which is great because that's what Kobus Reinach is, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But he's the first one that starts pushing and shoving when when he thinks the need arises. You know what I mean?
Well, what I didn't see last night that I had to see this morning, like the game ends, I'm at a pub, there's 40 to 50 people in this pub. This was Jess's first experience around Springbok fans, like a mass of them. And
Yes.
she was just like, oh my God, like, yeah, like we're that passionate about this game. She had gone to use the bathroom when we had the line out and it eventually gets into RG's hands and the Viking punches it through, which
Yeah.
to me was when I got hope back. I thought we were going to lose up to that point because we were looking like shit.
Yeah.
She's in the bathroom washing her hands and she just hears the whole bar just erupt. And I did too. I couldn't help it. I was absolutely like, I knew at that point, okay, we can change. We can win this. We can come back.
Yeah.
But it just seemed like I did it in my breakdown video of the game. There were guys that went out there and played like absolute shit yesterday.
No,
Where was Jesse Creel?
I didn't even know he was on the field, man.
Yeah, and I get it. The conditions, it's hard because with our centers, they have them run, they double back. Like you have to be a fast center to play for the Springboks.
Yeah.
And I get the wet conditions kept them kind of out of that. But like Cheslin Colby, Kurt Lee, like the only time you saw them was when they were getting fucking leveled. Like you never saw that ferocity that we had against France or against Scotland or even Ireland. We had that ferocity. It never really came out until like the last 5 minutes of the game. And
yeah, I was very agitated about that, man.
Our WhatsApp conversation can confirm that, ladies and gentlemen. We were both very upset by what we were seeing. And I'm sitting across the table from an Englishman who's like, man, are we going to make the final? Even though every English person I talked to yesterday had the exact same thing to say. Oh, we make the final, we're going to get fucking destroyed by New Zealand.
Yeah.
And I think that's the difference between the Springboks and the English is that we're not saying that.
Yeah, we're still confident we can take it to New Zealand. That's the bottom line, and we actually proved that the game just before the World Cup. Well, that we can take it to New Zealand.
Even take that out, like like think of the last real hiding we've had in the last 4 years. We've had like one, I think, by the All Blacks. I don't think the All Blacks are as good as everyone, and I don't want to take it away. The All Blacks are a great team. But I don't think they're as good as what people think they are.
You know what I always say, right? And I've actually said it in one of my previous videos where I said that black jersey gives them 5 points because
pretty much
of the respect that other teams give New Zealand. Where that's what Ireland did well in that last series, right? They didn't show them any respect, man. They were just like, we here to fuck you up. Right.
Yeah.
And that's what they did. And they beat them, right, in the whole series, which has never been done before in New Zealand. So at the end of the day, that's the type of mentality. And that's what I said to you. Remember when we had that warm-up game? I said to you, man, when we go out there, what we need to do? We need to attack. No, there's no fucking defense for 20 minutes and let's see what they do and let's feel each other out. Bro,
no.
If New Zealand gets that ball in hand and they get the opportunity, they're going to stuff you out, eh?
You don't.
What they're going to do to you. You should do the same.
You don't need to feel out anything from New Zealand. You know exactly what they can do. They can put
100%.
points on the board multiple fucking ways. Now, I did watch the Argentina-New Zealand game. Yeah, it turned ugly real fast. But there is something I did notice that no one is commenting on. Anybody care to talk about Richie Mo'unga's kick percentage in the game? 50%.
It was trash, man.
50%. Now you could say, oh, well, they've scored 44 points. And and it seems like, and I'd say the same thing too. We can play like absolute, our kicking can be absolute shit, but if we've put up 40 points on somebody, I don't care how bad our kicking is. But when it comes down to this, the World Cup final, I mean, think about the 95 final. There was not a single try scored.
Yeah.
Joel Stransky, Andrew Mertens was their fly half, I believe. Yeah, it was Andrew Mertens, I think, was theirs. No, I don't know who their fly.
I don't think it was in 2007 either, bro.
Yeah, so I mean, like, which comes to another point that I feel like I love Manny to death, but Andre is still a much better player than Manny Lebach. Like, a much, much better player than Manny Lebach. And I hate to say that, but
to me, he's a better defensive player and a better kicker for sure. Not necessarily a better attacking fly half.
Exactly.
So it depends on how you want to see it. I think Manny Lebach's still a better attacking fly half. But yes, all about big moments, right? I mean, we need to be able to take those 52-meter kicks, on the halfway line.
Since we don't have Franz Stain anymore,
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, we can no longer take a 66-meter kick. So that's the thing on that. But I think the biggest problem that we've got at the moment, it seems like, this is just my opinion, right? I feel like 2/3 of that team do not have the fire that Sia Khaleesi has at the moment, right? Like, he himself is trying to carry the spirit of that team, all right? And then you see some of the other guys, and they just seem like there's nothing in their bellies, like yesterday we were manhandled, man.
Yeah,
we were manhandled.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
By the same fucking players that we manhandled in 2019. Okay. And not how we manhandled them badly. Badly, bro. Like, we beat the crap out of Dan Cole's scrum in 2019. Dan Cole couldn't fucking move forward to save his life. Okay.
Yeah.
Same players. All right. Kitsoff is there. The only person that's not there is Malcolm Marx.
Beast.
Okay.
Beast. Yeah, we don't have Beast either. Yeah.
But I mean, the other two guys were still part of the mix.
Oh yeah. Okay? Oh yeah. No.
Just off the bench. So now they're starting, and we managed to mangle those guys' scrums, right? And yesterday's game, to me, that was just pure, like, inability. I don't even know what to mention it. It's just like we got spun around on our driving mauls, right? So we went nowhere. Okay. So our lineouts weren't functioning. We didn't even gain like anything from it. Okay. We didn't do well in our scrums. Okay. These are all things that traditionally Springboks are good at.
They're the masters of set piece play.
100%.
Play.
And I was like, what the hell is going on?
So it's funny you bring up that fire that Sia is. He's a torch. Let's just face the fact. He is a fully lit torch at this point. Now, there are guys on the team that I do see it in. And one of them I saw it in a lot yesterday was RG Stammen.
Yeah.
He has that fire in him. And it's so weird to think what's happened to him since 2019. He went like almost 2 years where he played like half a game.
Yeah, no rugby almost.
And it's like he is back and he is out to kill when he's on that pitch. You see it in him.
Yeah, 100% in him.
Faf de Klerk. You still see it in Faf de Klerk. You see it in Andre. Dion Footy, I heard the commentator say something yesterday that really just like hit it home. Dion Footy is a 37-year-old man who's playing like a 26-year-old.
He reminds me still a lot like Skalk Brits.
He just has, and I know why it is. This is it for him. He waited all this time, and now not only is he playing, he's going to a final.
Yeah.
This is all of us. Dion Footy is us. He's the guy that worked the crappy job for 20 years and then finally got a promotion.
Yeah.
And now he's doing everything that he saw. He's not doing the stuff that doesn't work. He watched and saw what worked, and he's doing that. I love them bringing him in as a flanker and then putting him in as a hooker to close the game. I think that's the best because his legs are warmed up, his body's ready, and he's good to go. Dion Footy is like, he's got that fire, and you could see why. We would have that if we were him too.
I think the guy with the most fire on that team is not even Sia.
Who is it?
Quagga Smith.
Fuck.
Quagga Smith, man. That guy is, I don't know what the fuck to describe him as, but that man, right, when he runs onto that field, he just like fucks everybody's shit up, right? He's just like, so you can give me that. Thank you very much. And and you can give me your ball.
Well, like he's also that guy that like he's always in the mix in the dirtiest places. Like he's always
100%.
like you see the front row guys clashing, the locks get in, and then you'll see Quagga just kind of come around to the side and say, "I'll take that." You know, like he's that guy. Oh, and then if you try to tackle him, if you don't get a whole arm around him, he's going to run through it. And then he's going to knock anybody in his way out because he's got such a low center of gravity.
Yeah,
I like Quagga Smith. I've loved him. The sevens background, I think, is what really sets him apart because he has that speed available to him. But other than having one of the ugliest noses in all of rugby, I love Quagga. He just seems like another one of those guys that's like, just a good blue collar, like, is he a superstar? I mean, he's not a marketable superstar, but he's great.
I think he's a superstar, man. I think literally like there's nobody on that team that can take his place, right? Like everybody else, you want to like you can sort of double up or whatever, right?
Yeah.
You can put Moody for Krill and you can put this guy for that and so forth. But Quagga to me is a very unique player in his ability, right? And since he came from his days of the sevens, right? He doubled in size, man. This oak is not as small as he used to be, right? You still think of him as a short flanker, all right, that he used to play. But man, this oak has become huge. He's muscular as fuck.
I will say this. Having seen Dwayne at 8, Jasper Visa at 8, and Quagga, now seeing him at 8, it goes Dwayne Quagga now for me. Like, Jasper is third now. He's the third choice. Obviously, Dwayne is about to stop. This is probably, he'll probably announce his retirement fairly soon. And if we've got to run Quagga at 8, I'm totally okay with that because he's got the footwork, he's good under the ball, and he's just like, I like how he steers. Another reason our scrum got so dominant late in the game was the way he steered it from the back. He was kind of the conductor from the back. And like he has really, I'm so used to him playing flanker. I actually kind of prefer him at 8 now. Just because I feel like he's in the mix a lot more at 8, and it's good for him. He doesn't have to stay to one side of the action. He can go wherever he feels like he needs to go.
Yeah. Look, I think we've got ample flankers. We don't need another fucking flanker. Right?
No,
we've got like 100 flankers in this country. All right, that like half of them play overseas because we grow so many flankers and locks. That's what we do, right? So. And a lot of the times the flankers are locks. And so at the end of the day, I don't think we need another flanker, but we for sure can do with another fucking awesome number 8. Right. So for me, he's like the competition for Sevilla,
Yeah.
like the same type of explosiveness, the same type of aggression on the ground, that type of thing. That's how I see Quagga. I don't see the other guys really Sevilla style, but Quagga's for me very much Sevilla style, right?
Who
So,
who do you think we can match up against Artie next week?
well, as I said, look. I mean, my problem with yesterday's game, and this is just my opinion. I think selections was fuck up.
Oh, it was
I think the
horrible. It was
selections was
horrible.
fuck up
We should have
because
changed. We should have changed some things. Yeah,
those guys
100%.
they were not up for it. They were tired. They were, I don't know what they were, but excuse me, they weren't up for that game. And I think the fresh bodies, guys like your Moody and Andre Esterhuizen, would have managed to create more game line. They would have maybe broken a few extra tackles. I think at the end of the day, if you changed, yeah.
We should have had Esterhuizen in just for the simple fact that man plays in the Premiership.
Yeah.
He plays
against
he plays against the English players. He knows how they play. And I didn't want to say it out loud in the pregame, but yeah, like we should have had Esterhuizen just for the simple fact that man he was Premiership Player of the Year. Yep. Why are you not playing him against Premiership players? Like Esterhuizen should have been an automatic. Yeah, you're playing. Like
what I would like to see, right? Like we both have opinions about Owen Farrell, right? And we know in 2018 what happened with Owen Farrell and Andre Esterhuizen.
Yeah.
Right? If for no other reason than to have retribution for Andre Esterhuizen, right? Where he runs through that fucking man, okay? That should have been reason enough to put Andre Esterhuizen onto the field.
Does kind of like a Makazole Mpipi over Kiribati move where he just kind of stands over him.
100%. 100%. That is exactly what I'm thinking, right? Because he would have had the fire, right? What does the number 12 do? A lot of times when he changes lanes, he runs at the number 10.
Yeah.
He runs at the fly off, right? That is what happened in the game against Ireland. Okay, De Allende was targeting Sexton a lot. All right. So, same thing. Okay. Andre Esterhuizen, focus on Owen Farrell and run his arms off his body because he doesn't need it. He doesn't use it. Just go on.
Now, of the entire English squad yesterday, I would give Freddie Stewart a tip of the hat. He played very, very fucking well.
What was that scrum half's name? He was also pretty good.
Alex Mitchell?
Alex Mitchell. That's the one. He was also playing pretty well. And Freddie Stewart. Freddie Stewart for sure had the better, he was a big fuck up for us, under the high ball.
Well, not just that. Problem. Yeah, we were trying to chase the ball down, and he was just there every time. He was much bigger than Kirtley and Cheslin, and he was 100%. Able to jump up and grab that ball, and he had good hands. I'm thinking of the parts of the game yesterday that frustrated me the most, and I'm going to have to take you into the second half. Ball is kicked deep. Kirtley drops it. And then knocks it on 5 meters out from our fucking try line. I was pissed at that moment. I was like, are you kidding me?
You know what? I was pissed.
And I get it. It's raining. I get it.
Yeah.
It happens, but not in a game like this. Dry your damn hands on your kit and get ready to catch the ball.
And not there on the field. There on the field, you make sure you fucking catch it. You know what I mean? If it was like on the halfway line and you knock it on, okay, fair, no problem. But on your 5 meter line, and now you have to defend like a motherfucker for the next fucking whatever. So for me, that was the one frustration. But the other frustration for me was Billy, man. Like for real, it was Billy. Like when I can't remember if it was, I think it was Colby that was running along the sideline. He kicked the ball in. Up comes Billy. He also kicks the ball, but he fucking kicks that ball so hard. He was never going to.
Was that when he chased it into the past the try line and
Yeah.
it went too deep? Yeah.
Yeah.
That was very frustrating. There was just a lot of frustration in that first like 65 minutes. I think for all of us Springbok fans, just because we just weren't seeing the boys click, and it was like, then they, I don't know if I messaged you or if I messaged somebody else asking like, why did they take Libok off so quickly? And they were like, because he did have the one kick from good distance that went through fine. I was very happy for him, but going back and watching it and realize he was making way too many mistakes. And
that is fair, right? But remember, your fly off is only as good as your forwards. Okay.
And our forwards were playing like
they were. Look, the fly off was always behind him, and you can make good decisions when he gets front foot ball, right? Our guys were never going anywhere. They're doing nothing. They weren't defending well. They weren't attacking well. They were going nowhere. They even on the attacking runs, I never even saw the ball going past the Allende, to be honest. Like I don't know. It was sort of like forward the Allende and somebody in the back line in the far, like on the wing, maybe eventually getting the ball when there's already three players basically on him, right? So that's like how I saw the game. There was like no Jesse Creel in between. Like where the fuck?
Well, you just saw, especially when we would get some phase movement going, there was just a wall of white jerseys. Yeah. Like they were defending us well.
Yeah, and it was all double hits the whole time on every tackle. And I mean, I was very frustrated that we didn't have better control of that game. And like I promise you, that whole first half, I was just praying, can we just go to half? Can we just go to half? I hope Razzie is tearing into these arseholes because they're not fucking. They don't have the fire or the hunger, man.
Did you see at the 37th minute where Razzie was? He was in the tunnel. He was waiting for half to hit. And I guarantee you, as they walked off the field, that was probably the last face they wanted to see when they walked off that field. Yeah. Because I don't know 100%, but like if you watch the post game, Sia and Jock were doing the post game, and Sia was talking about his relationship with Jock and Razzie at the Western Province. He was like 19 years old. And the way Sia talks about them, they're like his dad, basically. Those guys are like his parents. And I guarantee you don't want to see your upset parent when you're coming off the field. And I guarantee you that's what those boys saw when they walked off into the sheds. They saw a very angry father. Now, I'm pretty sure Rassi took them into the sheds, and I don't think Rassi doesn't seem like the type to cuss his kids out. Rassi probably just said, look, you guys are letting dad down right now. This is not how I told you to play. Now, you can find clips of their trainings online. They're not super secretive like the All Blacks are about it, but it really seems like Jock and Rassi let the guys kind of run the trainings on the field. They're more of like the book, the pen and paper, the graphs, that kind of thing. Even Sia said it. He was like, in our trainings, they don't tell us to hit harder. That's not how we're trained. We know how we're supposed to play. These guys just give us the direction we need to go. And I'm sure Rassi come in, everybody sit down, ice up, do whatever you need to do. And he's like, look, guys, this is not how you're supposed to play. We're not losing this game. And I'm pretty sure Andre kind of looked over at Foff and Sia and was like, okay, I guess it's up to us now.
Look, I think it happened a little bit differently because I've seen some of Razzie's videos before, and he likes dropping the F-bomb.
Oh, I'm sure.
Probably more than I do. All right. So I'm sure he went something like, what the fuck, guys? And then he probably tapped Eben Etzebeth on the shoulder and be like, listen, you say something. And he was like looking at everybody in the face and be like, listen, do your fucking job. You do your fucking job. You do your job.
Wasn't that was the British and Irish Lions tour where they're in the sheds and Evan has everybody in a circle and says, we're fucking champions, aren't we? Then let's go out and fucking play like champions. Like it's just it's Evan. Like I said, man, it was we won. That's the point. We won. Whether you win by 1 or whether you win by 50, it doesn't matter. They're not going to the final. We are. Now, my problem I have is that it was a really ugly win because had we played our role properly, we would have absolutely destroyed them.
Look, man, let's remember, okay, what happened in 2019, right? England was probably the best side they've ever been for the longest time, okay? I'm saying since 2003, okay? Of course, when they won that World Cup final. But, so probably the best they've been since. And we absolutely destroyed them in 2019, okay? I considered us to be a better team going into this game than what we were in 2019.
I was saying it too.
On top of that, I considered England as a worse team than what they were in 2019. Okay? And then when they come out and they surprise you like this and they give you basically a fucking wet willy the whole time, okay, in that fucking scrum, okay, then I start to question, okay, maybe I thought we are a bit better than what we were, or maybe there's something wrong with what the coaches are doing at the moment, because I think personally they chose the wrong staff complement. Okay, they chose the wrong people for this specific game. All right, and not to say that these guys on any other day wouldn't have been the right players. Okay, what I'm saying is for this specific game, after being through the previous 2 games, because listen, okay, the game before France was a motherfucking hard ass game. Okay, it was hard. It was hard.
Tonga was fucking tough.
Then you go and you face the tournament favorites on their home field, right? Who is probably the best they've been in probably 20, 30 years, right? Yeah. Then you go face those guys. Then you come into a game like this, okay, and you don't rest your people. Like, why? I don't understand why. Sure, you can't rest all of your people. You can only select 33 people to go with. But surely there is key positions that you could have, okay, maybe let's rest that guy, and maybe let's rest this guy, and let's bring in like the Andre Esterhazy. Because, look, Damien Bialende, in the previous game, he was fantastic, right?
Yeah.
He was amazing, okay?
Like, my video I did in the week, I was like, Creel,
I've got new respect for you. I never had it before.
Yeah, no. He's, yeah.
And what happens in the very next game? Nothing. Zero. Zip.
Like, I didn't even know he was there. I didn't even know we had an outside center.
Something I had meant to bring it up a bit earlier and I kind of got sidetracked. So at the end of the France game, obviously DuPont, everybody, they're just devastated. You know, we're going over there. You know, obviously we celebrate and then we go and hug the French players, you know, tell them great game. Because it was. I still think that France quarterfinal might very well be one of the greatest games of rugby I've ever watched.
Yeah.
Just because it just took everything we had. What I didn't realize until I watched this morning was what happened as soon as the whistle blew with England. There was a little bit of celebrating, but there were a lot of shirts and there was a lot of shoving. The English were pissed.
There's anger between those two teams.
Man. We didn't see what we saw when we beat France. We didn't see what we saw when we beat Tonga. We didn't see what we saw even when we lost to Ireland in the pool game. We were crushed, but there was no like shoving or grabbing. Dude, go back and watch, dude. That's all that was happening at the end of the game. People grabbed each other and started shoving, and it was just like, holy shit! Like, I can't remember the last time I've seen a game end like that. But that just shows you how much hatred for each team was on the field. England, I said it in my live. I saw it in their eyes. Those guys that were on that 2019 team, when they were out there for the national anthem, they had fire in their eyes. They wanted revenge.
Yeah, you can see it in a Toje, for instance, right?
Oh yeah, he had it. Owen Farrell, fuckboy Farrell, dude. He had the smirk on his face and everything, man. He wanted revenge for that 2019 game. And honestly, as a Springbok supporter, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. That was what I was hoping if we'd met Ireland in the final, that we would have in our eyes revenge for the pool game. But
I always bring this up. Right? I always say, look, we faced Australia. They beat us, right? But they beat us ugly, right? In the way of like shenanigans. I'm not saying they beat us ugly as in gave us a fucking hiding. I'm saying the way they beat us was just, it wasn't a nice way to lose, right? Because you had people like Nick White falling on the floor, touching his fucking mustache and being a little bitch about it. Korobete tackling Mapimpi without the ball. And,
with no arms. Yeah.
And no penalties was blown. And like all these things that happened, right? And then that very next game, the passion that you saw, I don't know if you saw that, if you remember the try that Eben basically ran towards the posts and then he handed it off to Dialende and Dialende ducked and dived and he threw that, he got the try and he took that ball and he like slammed it down like this.
Like
right?
spiked it. Yeah.
And then he just went to the crowd like, like he's giving them the finger type thing, right?
Yeah.
That was the fire that I thought that would be there when we faced England.
Okay? And it wasn't. No. It never was.
It's not that England, look, I mean, I think they say one thing, but they mean another in the Springboks, right? I think they said they're not taking them lightly, but I think there were still a lot of players that was just like, yeah, no, we'll win this one, type of thing, and not really concentrating on the task at hand. And that is those guys I'm saying that you never really saw that fire when the game started, right?
Yeah.
I'm not saying it was all of them. I'm sure there was some of them that had it, okay? Like we mentioned earlier, those bunch of players that we could see it was in them. But then you had people like Kitchoff. It just looked like it was flat, man. There was like nothing going. Like, like there was a number of those players. It just looked like there was nothing in their belly.
Like, I mean, and I hate to say it, as much as I hype up Thormeulen, much like we hype up Dion Footy because he's one of the vets on the team, he was kind of they were running him ragged yesterday. Like they ran his ass ragged. Like he was fucking dog ass tired when he came off. Like that was a tough game for him. Even and I mean, like I said, I think we have a suitable replacement for when he's gone. And Kwaka, I think he is a suitable replacement. But I don't even know if I would have even started him yesterday just because he was spent. Like it just didn't sit right with me the way some of the selections were made, obviously. I mean, I'm wondering how long we're going to wait until we put out the lineup for the final game. Are they going to play mind games or are they going to put that shit out Tuesday? Because you never fucking know with Rassie and Jock. You never know.
Look, at this point, right, I think it would be a proof of intent, I guess, if they put it out early, right? The last two games, we had to knuckle fight it barely to the bone, right? Like it went to 1 pointers, both games, right?
Yeah.
And both times we waited long to announce that team, right?
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying that,
we waited too long, and because we know the players already know on, let's say, the Monday who's going to be playing anyway, right?
Yeah.
They probably know in advance. But I'm just saying, right? Like, just get that confidence back. That be like, listen, this is who we are. This is what we're putting on the field. What the fuck are you going to do about it? You know what I mean? I
You
feel
know what
like
I
they've not been doing that or having that mentality.
you know what I think's going to happen? I'm not talking about the Springboks lineup. How much you want to bet we get the exact same lineup from the All Blacks that we got at Twickenham?
I don't think so.
I think it'll be damn close. I think it'll be damn
It will be close because that was close to their perfect team. All right. But I don't think it's going to be like that because at that stage, Frizzell was injured and Frizzell's playing now.
Yeah.
So
I think we get Scott Barrett starting at lock. And I think Muster and Eben draw him into some shit because that's what they're really good at doing.
Didn't he get another card in the last game?
Yeah, he got yellow carded against Argentina. Yeah. He is a card machine. I kind of want to think a bit ahead. We talked about the game, aired our frustrations. Now we look to the final and what I think this final means. This is the first team to win 4. Whoever wins this one will be the first and only team to win 4. I think the legacy of Ian Foster lay in this game from taking the team from their worst ranking, losing a series at home for the first time. There are people out there that are trying to say that he is a great coach. I think Ian Foster is a clown. I think his success was already there. He's tried to live off the success of what of Hansen. He hasn't added anything to the mix. I think this is it for him. This ends. Was he a bad All Blacks coach? Or was he a good All Blacks coach? Compared to Steve Hansen, he is a fucking horrible All Blacks coach. But our legacy in this, which is we are the we deserve to be at the big boys table, but everybody keeps trying to give us a booster chair and sit us at the kids table.
Yeah.
I've gotten sick and tired. It's almost like in American football. The All Blacks are the Patriots. They've won a shitload of titles. They have a lot of fucking hardware in their cabinet. But they also, like the New England Patriots, they've got an aging core.
Yeah. I mean, they used to live off, Tom Brady, right?
Yeah. So, like, Bowden Barrett was their Tom Brady. He's towards the end of his run, obviously. But I think with us, we're more like the... Oh man, we would be like the Oakland Raiders, man. Like we've got that bad boy attitude. Nobody fucking likes us because we bully our way through everyone. We have a shitload of pride. I mean, they showed Mama Joy at the game yesterday. She even looked fucking upset.
Yeah.
It's Mama Joy, for fuck's sakes. This is a woman that's like
it's in the name.
She's supposed to be a beaming light. Now, at the end of the game, oh, hell yeah, the smile was out. Everything was out. Mama Joy was looking good. She was looking like it was Christmas Day. The table was set, and she was happy. But, like, I hate to say it. Like, I feel like going into this final, it's like, Nike presents you the Nike New Zealand All Blacks versus the Adidas Springboks. Like it's almost like they're Coca-Cola and we're like the generic soda that somebody also brought it to the party, but the realization is that our formula is slightly better, but nobody gives us the rap because we don't have the black jersey. And I think a lot of the favorites, there's going to be, and it's kind of be like that map whenever England was playing Fiji. The whole world was for Fiji. England was for England. I'm willing to bet a pretty good chunk of the world's going to be for the All Blacks. And
for sure.
And I think that's where we play best. That's where we play best. We're so good at being the underdog. We're so good at people thinking we're like the little stray in the neighborhood that's got fucked up scars all over it because it's had a hard life, but it knows how to survive.
Yeah.
The All Blacks is the one living in the big house eating steaks. You know, like it's.
You brought up Tom Brady the other no.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw that video of him that came out the other day where he was like wishing the Springboks good luck and like to take it to the teams and stuff like that. So
yeah.
I just thought that was quite cool. I didn't even
That's
know
why I
that
brought
he
it up.
fucking
That's
thought
why I
about
brought
rugby,
it
eh?
up. Yeah. Oh, Javier Bardem, the bad guy from Skyfall, James
Yeah.
Bond. He was at the game yesterday.
I didn't even realize, man.
They had an interview with him on the field, and apparently he played for Spain.
Wow.
Like way back in the day when it was like kind of, you know, nobody really gave a shit about rugby. He's like, it's starting to grow in my country, but like I had no idea that man is a rugby fan. Like
no, me neither. I don't know that.
and the first thing I thought to my head, I'm looking at him, I'm like, that guy was a flanker. That guy was a flanker. So I get online, yeah, sure enough, he was a flanker. He was a flanker. It was just like, but I just think that like going into this final, I think it's different than 4 years ago, man.
Yeah.
COVID. We didn't play in the rugby championship for the Springboks didn't play for over a year.
Yeah.
We went through that. Load shedding. All this everything that's wrong with South Africa. I feel like the boys need to put that on their shoulders and they use that weight to push through. And
I just wish I could believe in the coach, man. Like
with Jock.
Yeah, I just wish I could. The fact of the matter is that you know, I am a Springbok supporter and I will be one until I die one day, right? But there's just something about that man. I don't know what it is, man. Like, I don't know what it is. It just comes across to me as a bullshitter, and he might not be one, right? Like, I might be completely incorrect about it, okay? But like, it just feels like he's always avoiding things that people are saying, and like he's not trying to answer the questions. And like, dude, if we ask you a question, just be direct, man. We're not asking you to give up your recipe for success. We asking you a question, like, just be fucking straightforward with us, you know? Like, I just feel like in some of the interviews I've watched, I get so frustrated, right? And the problem with that is that, you know, you're wondering if he's steering your boys right. You know what I mean? Because you know what the boys can do. You know what they are capable of. They've shown it in 2019, right? They've shown what they are capable of. We know what they're capable of. We saw what they did at Twickenham, right? What they can do against teams like New Zealand. We saw that, right? We once again won the British and Irish Lions with half our team fucking struggling through COVID, right? Like all these type of things that happen. We know how to get through diversity, right? We know how to get through problems. And I just feel like there's a lot of times that Nina Arbor is trying to hide the fact of the problem being existing, right? And I find, like, just be honest with us. Tell us as fans, we will support you. If you struggle, we will support you. Look, for me, I'm not a Springbok fan because Sia is playing for the nation, right? To be honest, I couldn't care who he plays for, okay? He could be playing for his family to put food on their tables. I don't give a crap who he's playing for, right? Okay? I still have pride in that team. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to say don't play for the country, okay? Because a lot of people take pride into the Springboks, okay? Because it's the only sport where we really can compete on the global stage consistently, all right? So I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is I don't care about that, okay? What your motivation is, right? Just find your motivation, use it, and apply it, you know, in a correct manner. Like last night's game, right? Like these guys are
going out there saying, we're doing this for the country, we're doing this for the people, we're doing this for everybody, we want to put pride back into the people, we want to save our country, whatever the wording is that they're utilizing, right? Do you want to tell me that is the fire that got driven last night?
No.
Okay. So what I'm trying to say is I don't really care about that. Okay. All I'm saying is whatever your motivation is, fucking grasp it and use it. Right? And show to us. That will make us believe in you. Not you saying you're playing for us. We want to see it.
Hashtags don't do anything for you. Like
100%.
And
100%.
I agree to an extent with a lot of that. For me, like personally, obviously, I don't live in South Africa, but I am massively a Springbok fan. For me, it's like I've said it many times in the past, and I'll say it again. For me, the Springboks represent hope. That, like, no matter where you're from or what your circumstances are, you can go out and achieve. But the way you go out and achieve is, like you said, you find whatever drives you, you focus in on it, you harness it, and you let that motherfucking shit push you to the top. And I think they're masters at it. I feel like the Springboks are masters at that very thing. But you're right. Sometimes I don't want to hear about, like, hey, you know, this is for this or this is for this. How about you just tell me, like, I'm going to smash these fuckers and we're going to win? You bring up Jock and press conferences, that kind of thing. I don't enjoy his. I enjoy Rassie's because Rassie is confrontational. If you have some cack to say to Rassie, he responds. And he doesn't beat around. Rassie doesn't beat around the bush. He is direct. When he did the press conference where he called out Borthwick starting 15, that was extremely rude to a lot of the rugby world. But you know what I thought about it? That's fucking Rassie. That's fucking Rassie. He doesn't give a fuck. He's going to play by the rules, but he's also going to let you know, you want to treat us like a dirty team? We'll show you a dirty team.
Yeah.
And I like that about Rassie because he doesn't give a fuck. Like, he plays by the rules. And if he breaks the rules, he openly admits, I'm sorry, I broke the rules. I'll take my punishment. But, like, doing that, like, I don't know if you saw the press conference after where they brought it up to Borthwick. And they were like, hey, how do you feel about him announcing your squad? And he looked like a deer in the headlights. And he was like, what do you mean? When did he announce that? And he was like, yesterday. And he's like, well, did he get it right? They were like, not 100%. And then he kind of looked relieved. Like, oh, shit, did this guy already give away my game plan?
Yeah.
Rassie could have mentioned nothing but wrong names.
Yeah.
But it's that mental edge. He was letting Borthwick know, I'm smarter than you.
Yeah.
And I wish that the Springboks would have that edge sometimes. It's okay because, like, it's totally okay to be smug when you're an All Black or a Palm, but we're not allowed to be smug. Fuck that. Fuck, we're champions. Be smug. They want to look down on you. You look down on them because you've got the hardware and the ability to look down on them.
But
that's
this
just
is exactly
me.
this is exactly what I'm talking about, right? And that's where my problem comes in, okay, with Ninaber, is exactly for that same reason what you just mentioned there, right? So for me, it's exactly that. What I want, okay, look, the world accuses us 100% of the time, okay, if it's another country that we are boring players, we are cheats, we play games, mind games with people, we, like, you name it, okay, they will tell us we are a bunch of pansies that always crying about the ref, okay. They will give us all the names in the world, okay. There's a saying from one actor, and I fail to remember his name now, okay, but he said, they hate us because they ain't us.
Right? So that would be James Franco in The Dictator.
Yeah, that's the one, right? So, and this is the thing, right? Is that a lot of these people, like, and this is, if we lost yesterday, I wouldn't be able to take it, stand, like, sitting down. If that TikToker little bitch boy
came and ran his mouth for the next 2 weeks, I was gonna fucking lose it. I promise you, right?
So you didn't see he backpedaled. He backpedaled.
No,
I
100%.
didn't say anything about Eben. Yeah, you did, asshole. But yeah, sorry, man. Go ahead.
No, 100%. So you know what I mean? Like I wouldn't be able to take it like sitting down. Never. I would never. It's not in my nature. It's not in my culture to take it sitting down, right? Okay. So, anyways, that being said, okay. I also believe that stand behind what you are. Okay. If you're a champion, act like it. Right?
Definitely.
And champions don't back down to inferior teams. That's how they become champions. Right?
Definitely.
So, and this is the thing. So for me, like, I don't know what it is, but I do not feel that belief of championshipness or championness, whatever you want to call it, from a leader like Jacques Nienaber, right? I don't feel that coming from him. And I do not feel it coming from some of the players last night. I did not feel it, okay? Yes, there were many players that played like they were champions, okay? Like, for instance, the Quagga Smiths that we mentioned, like, for instance, RG Snyman, like, you know, some of these players, so which is great, okay, for them. But then there's others that like kept getting knocked back, and you're like, that's not what a champion does. Get up and fucking do it again, you know? You don't back down. You don't have that guy shove you around the field. If those guys think they're going to be doubling up on you on a tackle, then do what Faf de Klerk did when he played, I think, in the like European League, all right, where he ran at the two Oaks just in front of the try line, and he knocked both of them out. Okay?
They don't call him the Giant Slayer for nothing. Yeah.
Both of them were lying there, arms in the air like this, right? Both of them were asleep. Okay? We've got much bigger players than Faf, right, that can do that job. Okay, and yet we kept being driven back. So, anyways, I don't want to hop on about you know, the team and my discontent for what we showed last night. But what I'm trying to say is, this box team, okay, need to put that pride back into themselves. They don't need to put the pride back in us. We are already proud being Springbok supporters. They need to have that pride in themselves that they are the number one team in the world, ranked number one. All right, not us saying number one. They are ranked number one. Okay, that's point number one. Number two, they are the reigning, defending world champions. Okay, they are the British and Irish Lions Tour champions. Okay, they are champions. That is what they are. They are champions.
It's in the DNA. It's in the DNA of the team.
And it's in the DNA of 80% of that team that's been there and done that in the previous World Cup, that's been there and done that in the British and Irish Lions Tour, that's been there and done that against New Zealand on Twickenham, that's been there and done that against Scotland in that first game that they played, okay? They are champions. They just need to believe that they are champions and then carry themselves as champions.
And I think if we do that, we have this game. If these guys can find it in themselves to be what we all know they are. And that's it. That's, look, stronger together. We know you guys can win this game. We know we believe in you, Evan. We believe in you, Sia.
Yeah.
If that's not enough, then I don't know what is.
You know,
you
I
need
just want to say, don't do it for us. Do it for yourselves. You know, do it for yourselves. Show it to yourselves. Look, we can do it back to back. Okay? We are the undisputed best world champion team in the history of world rugby. Okay? We have won 4 world titles. We've played 2 less world titles than anybody else.
We won 3.
Right?
3, not 4. 3.
Sorry. No, I'm saying if we've beaten it. This time. That's what I'm referring to. So we could say we've taken 4. Okay.
Nobody
in
else can
2
say
less
that.
World Cups.
100%. Okay. And on top of it, okay, we weren't even for 2 of those playing international rugby at all. Okay. We were playing Curry Cup because we were sanctioned, right? We went through diversity. We went through, a whole change of leadership country-wise, a whole change of the people, lifestyles, everything. We went through all of that, and we still managed to be the most successful rugby team in the history of rugby, right? Undisputed, all right? Because currently, a lot of people dispute South Africa's superiority in World Cups, right? Because New Zealand has won 3, South Africa has won 3, and New Zealand has beaten South Africa more than South Africa has beaten New Zealand. Okay, fair enough. Okay, but let's talk about the World Cup hardware, the World Cup winning hardware. Right, we are equal terms with 2 less World Cups, and there was a chance that we can even beat any of those teams in that 80s World Cup games.
Yeah,
Right? We had a good team.
87, no doubt we would have at least made the final. Yeah, like we would have made the final, no minimum. Yeah. And even that, like, people tend to think the history of rugby since 1995, and yes, the All Blacks have been the best during that period. Learn your history, folks. Go look back at the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. The All Blacks did not reign over the Springboks. We reigned over them. We had so many Boer guys on the team that were hard ass farmers that ate rocks for breakfast. And we would fuck up. Go watch any of those 60s, 70s, 80s All Black Springboks games. We would fuck them up on a regular basis.
Yeah.
Guys like Danny Harbour, like all these guys from way back in the fucking day, Nos Buta, all these guys, like they would fuck up the All Blacks. But also, take a look at the All Blacks back then and take a look at them now, too. This whole idea of like, oh, the Springboks were only white players. Yeah, so were the All Blacks back then. They didn't start bringing Pacific Islanders in until the 80s. Well, you had the one, Brian. Anyways, they had one in the 70s. It's the idea that like the All Blacks have like had a century of domination in the sport. No, they've haven't. They've had a quarter century, but that's ending because
Also,
the last, yeah, it's not. It's not. I tip my hat to them. I do respect the All Blacks, but at the same time, I know my history. I know the history of this game, and you have not dominated for a century.
Man, there was teams that we played that we haven't lost to in 100 years. Let that sink in.
Yeah.
Right. So, what I'm trying to say is okay, we got a tough opponent next week, right? New Zealand has for sure improved during the World Cup.
Oh yeah,
based on what they were when before the World Cup and when the first game was played, they're by far superior to what they were. England last night was by far superior than what they were coming into the World Cup. Okay, and we seemed a bit flat. But if anybody can grind out a World Cup win, we know the Springboks are it, right? So, of course, I have to back the boys going into this World Cup final. I have to back them, of course. Springboks for life. And I wish all the players and even Jock Dino, but I wish him good luck as well.
Yeah.
And of course, I wish the New Zealanders
also a lot of luck.
Hopefully, lucky enough to fall on their feet and say thank you for the opportunity to play the great Springbok team that we are.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, look, I mean, I wish everybody a good luck and hopefully no injuries, hopefully no red cards. I really hope for a really good game. I really do. When I say a good game, I don't mean like just grinding it out. I understand grinding a game out, right? but I don't want to see performances like I saw last night and last week, where we have maybe 30, maybe 35% of fucking possession on field possession. And, we have to really do something with ball in hand. I'd like to see maybe 1 or 2 changes in that team, not the same team. Maybe even Pollard to start, as you mentioned earlier. Which would maybe be a good idea. Faf, of course, goes hand in hand with that specific selection. I just think them as a combination is just perfect. And then, yeah, man, I don't know what to say anymore. I just want to say, like, I really love the sport, and of course, that's why we both got this rugby channels that we avidly put videos on, so every week. And of course, following this World Cup journey has been very tough for me personally, because of frustrations and anger, and because I am a bit of a person that is led, my emotions is on my sleeve, So when we play shit, I call them out over the TV. I don't know why they can't hear me. They should be listening to for my shouts from my couch. So, but yeah, look, I mean, this is a sport that everybody can get behind. It's a sport for people, all types of people, all sizes, all races, all ages. Well, maybe not when you're 70, I guess, but you know what I mean. Like anything from 20 to 40 years old, you're good to go. I mean, guys like Dwayne Vermeulen and Dion Ferry proves that. And so I'm just excited to see the final, and we'll see how that goes. I hope I'm gonna be doing something big for that night, because we have to celebrate, and if it's not celebratory, then it's gonna be to drown our sorrows. So
I think next week, obviously with the final, it's going to be a great game regardless of the outcome. These are the 2 best teams in all of rugby. The Southern Hemisphere proving once again the superiority of the game south of the equator. Now, for those of you who live in America and follow me and who are American, take note. I don't want to go on a big tangent about this, but if you want to know the key to the future, it ain't emulating England. You have to look at the teams that do it and do it best. And those teams are the Southern Hemisphere teams. It's the All Blacks, it's the Springboks, it's the Pumas at times, it's the Wallabies when they're not a shit storm. The future of this game and the past of this game has always been dominated south of the equator. Their trophy is coming back south of the equator regardless of who wins next weekend. And there's a reason it has spent every single World Cup except one south of that equator. And that's because the best rugby in the world is being played in these faraway lands from Britain.
Yeah.
And that's the fact of the matter. The 2 best teams made it to the final. I will say that. The 2 best teams in this tournament made it to the final.
You know what the funny thing is, right? Up until the last World Cup, which is in 2019, no team has ever lost a pool game and gone on to win the World Cup.
Who was the first team to do it?
We were the first team to do it, right? This World Cup, both teams in the final lost a pool game.
Yeah. It's weird, right? It's weird to think about that right now. And who is it? The teams that are doing it? South Africa and New Zealand. Rightfully so.
We are innovators, right? Like, if you think about it, right? I think it was in like the 1950s or 60s. I can't recall when. I heard a story about the sub 4-minute mile or something like that, right? That was like the world record. Nobody can beat it, right?
Yeah.
Nobody could beat it.
And then one guy beat it. And the very next Olympics, that was the qualifying time.
Yeah.
It's only never done until the first person does it. And that's what's so interesting about this World Cup, right?
It's 2 firsts. And it's like, and you talk about the bar being set. Not only has the Southern Hemisphere set the bar they've raised the bar and continue to make their way over the top of it. With each Rugby World Cup, the Southern Hemisphere has shown the way and the future of this game. And to dote on our Springboks once again, I dare you to find a team where you can look at that roster and see, regardless of whether you're black, red, yellow, brown, and not see faces that look just like yours. And that's what I think at the end of the day, for me, that's what makes the Springboks so special, because it really is. They call it the Rainbow Nation. They call it look at the rugby team. The rugby team is a Rainbow Nation now.
Yeah.
And, to think 5 years ago, we were talking about quotas.
Yeah, look, I mean, at the end of the day, I've always been of the firm belief, whoever's best must play. So for me, it was never about color or race or anything to that effect. If that guy's better than the next guy, he must fucking play. That is how you get the best team. That is just life. If I'm gonna go and run against you and I'm faster than you, the chances that I'm going to a World Cup is more than yours, right? Because I'm faster. Okay. So, and that's just how it is, right? The better player must be playing in the game. That's regardless of what color you are. All right. And I think, as I mentioned before, I think Sia is the best number 6 in the world. Well, for South Africa.
For South Africa. Yeah.
Is the best number 6 in South Africa. Right. That is my opinion. That is why he's there. Like when he comes onto the field, he makes things happen. Right?
With a busted knee less than 6 months ago.
100%. So, this is, for me, he's not a quota player. He's not a quota.
No, there's none. There's none on this team. You can't argue 100%. That with a single player on this team.
100%. I think personally,
quota picks.
I think Trevor Nyakane and Oxen Chair is better scrummages at the moment
than Franz and Steven.
100%. They should be starting. Right?
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like
Bongi Manambi has completely, like, we knew he could do it. He was always a valuable backup or starter. We knew he could do it, but who knew he could do it for 70 fucking minutes?
Yeah.
Bongi has been carrying, and I love him for it. Bongi Manambi, love you, bro. Love you. Keep having that weird busted up head of yours. We love you, man. Not just the whole of South Africa, but the whole of the Springbok supporters in the world. Every one of you boys, we love you. You're great. Now go out and do what you can do, which is win us a 4th fucking title. That's all I gotta say.
I just want to finish off by saying one thing, right? Like, I know a lot of you guys that's been listening to us, you might think, hey, did the Springboks lose last night? Because the way I've been ripping into them, right? We won, okay? But how we won is my concern, right? But that being said, I still got a firm belief in the boys. I still think they are the best team in the world. I still think they're going to give New Zealand hell, and I still think they're going to walk away 4th World Cup champions, right? That is in my heart. I believe it. And I think that is why I get so defensive or aggravated when they don't deliver to the standard that we know they can do. It's not that we are creating unfounded expectations or anything on people, right? It's been proven before. It's been shown before. We know it's there. We know it's in their bellies. So all I'm saying is, regardless of what this whole hour has been about, I still have a firm belief in the boys. I love the box. I love every one of the guys that's selected for that team. I don't care in what order they get put on the field. I don't care as long as Marvin Ori doesn't play in that final.
Just keep him away from it.
No,
What-
look, I mean,
I
Yeah.
actually love Marvin Ori. I'm just joking. I actually love him as well to bits, and I've mentioned in my previous videos where he's a solid foundation. He does what he does well. He's just not no flash. That's all, but he
yeah.
does what he does well. So, but anyways, I'm just ragging on him a little bit. But in terms of this team, I believe they do have the caliber of players to do it. I've got the firm belief that they got the guns to be able to shoot down that perpetrator. They really have everything in their arsenal to bring this one home. And I just want to wish them good luck, and I hope none of them get injured. And of course, they'll see our videos. Maybe, I don't know if they follow any of us, but if they do, they'll see our videos in the reaction to that. And of course, yeah, good luck to Razzie and the guys. And of course, Jock Nienaber, this is your last game with South Africa, so make it fucking count.
Yeah, so
Please.
we can call you a winner too, man. While we're talking, I don't know if I'll be able to show it to the camera or not, but while all that fighting was going on between the players at the end of the game last night, somebody snapped a photo of, you see all these guys shoving each other, and I don't know if you can't really see it, but it's Oxen Chase shaking Ben O'Keefe's hand, and all you see is a melee of fighting behind it. And I'm wondering if Ox did that in purpose to let them get their jabs in.
He's
Hey,
like,
but let me
come with
shake,
me.
yeah, let me shake your head real quick while these guys beat the crap out of each other. And it's like, that tells you everything about Oxen Shea right there. Apparently, there was an interview. They said, who are the funniest guys on the team? And I Sia was like the number one. Everybody was like, Sia is a clown, which I find this will be the last.
Right?
This will be the last thing I bring up.
Yeah.
We've been watching these Rugby World Cup games, and I don't know if you've noticed, they have kids carry the teams out in front of them. I want you to go back and just watch that part of every one of those. You will notice two things. One, Sia talks to every single one of them.
Yeah.
Like, he turns around, they face him, he asks their name, that he shakes their hand, he'll put his arm around their shoulder, and 9 times out of 10, they hold his hand as he walks out onto that pitch. Now, I think that says so much about Sia's character as a person, as a leader, as everything. That tells you everything, because if you looked last night at Owen Farrell, he didn't even look at the kid. Sia was being let out and looking at the kid, making eye contact with the kid. That's not his kid. That's the kind of person Sia Khaleesi is. That's why he's our captain.
I got one thing to add, right?
I firmly believe that rugby needs those beautiful 2 minutes from hockey.
Oh, 2-minute penalties?
Yeah.
I don't think.
So what I'm trying to say is, right? So just hear me out, right? I firmly believe they should allow a player from each team to just decide, listen, let's brawl, right?
Let's just fight real quick.
Let's just fucking swing. Like, let's go out swinging, okay? And you give them 2 minutes off the field.
5 minutes to sit off. So who would you?
100%.
Well, not to go on too big of a tangent to end this, who would you send every time?
Who do you think is the guy that's always in the fucking fight?
So I would send Eben if I couldn't get Eben, and this might blow you away. And the only reason I say this is because I know where he went to school. Damien Dialende. He's a Milnerton grad, dude. Those guys are fucking tough, man. I would send Eben or Damien every fight, or Peter Steph Dutoy.
Yeah, look, I mean, it depends, I guess, who's available on the day. I mean, if we could kind of talk about the current 23,
then yes, I'll take Eben. If there's people like, let's say, Malcolm Marx is available, I might even be tempted to go with Malcolm Marx. You know what I mean? I feel like that guy will. I think
I have a feeling that he would bear hug your ribs broken type thing, you know? That's how I feel like he would do.
I think Trevor Nakane could probably do the same thing, but he'd probably have his tongue sticking out the entire time. Yeah, but that would be his defense. Like, you don't want to get close to his face because he's gonna lick yours. But yeah, that we could do a whole other video about that. Guys that we would like to see do UFC fighting. Eben would be my number one, just because I could see Eben picking guys up and just slamming them to the mat, and then just putting a knee on their chest and being like, tap out.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, ours would get all big and everything.
We've seen him flinging people around like they're rag dolls before. So,
did you see yesterday when Sia's pants came down?
No, I didn't actually.
He comes out of a ruck and his shorts were down at his knees, man. Like, he had his underwear on still. So he's like pulling his pants up out of the back of a ruck. Like, his pants were down to his knees, man. But anyways, an hour and a half. I mean, we could probably do this for 3 hours because it's rugby, but we'll call it a day. We will see you guys next week. Hopefully,
as world champions.
It will be horse voiced. You probably a bit hungover. Me feeling hungover, even though I don't drink. And as world champions, yeah, that would be the greatest feeling.
100%.
You have anything else to add, Mr. Pierre and Eastrand?
No, I'm just going to say thank you to everybody once again for listening to our podcast. We're obviously having fun with you guys listening to us, and of course that's who we do it for. So I hope you had a laugh as much as we did. Yes, we had some serious topics that we discussed, but you know, we like to mix it up with a bit of joking around here and there.
Always.
So I hope you guys enjoyed it, and maybe you disagreed with us on some topics, and that's great too. We still love you guys, and thank you for taking the chance on us and listening to our podcast.
And my last thing, you brought it up earlier, the guy on TikTok. You suck, Kieran.
Yeah, man. Fuck you, Kieran.
All right.
Fuck you, Kieran. Okay.
Cheers, man.
Cheers, man.